Yes.
Donald Rowe.
Here.
Thomas P.J. Dawes.
Here.
Monica Manzella. Jerry J.
Here.
Eula Simeon.
Here.
T. Taylor Townsend.
Here.
Lenore Sweet. Here.
Before moving on to business today, we actually have a guest in the audience, Jason Hanneman, who was recently accepted our offer of employment as the new executive director. Mr. Hanneman, would you like to come forward and introduce yourself to everyone?
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Again, I'm Jason Hanneman. Currently, I'm the Human Resources Director with the Louisiana Department of Education, but I'm happy to and honored to accept the position of Executive Director.
They can't hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, Chris.
Again, I'm currently the Human Resources Director for the Louisiana Department of Education, but effective Monday, March 20th, I'm honored to serve as your next Executive Director for this commission. I'm born and raised from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge, and I went to LSU, graduated from LSU with a bachelor's degree in business, and received my MBA from the University of New Orleans. I've been in the state government for going on 12 years now. Seven of those years have been with the Department of State Civil Service, where I've worked in the regulatory side of the civil service rules for regular classified state employees. The last 5, I've been at the Department of Education as their Human Resources Director, and I have worked on the practical side of the rules, applying those rules in situations with employees. And so, again, I'm honored to take this opportunity and apply from both sides, the regulatory and the practical side, and work with you all in making this commission and the great work that is done on this commission for the state troopers of Louisiana the best it possibly can be.
Thank you. Did a good job.
Well, thank you. Look forward to working with you all.
Look forward to working with you as well. We had a lot of great applicants. I just want to say thank you again to everyone who put in for the position. It really reflected the position that you're taking, and we look forward to working with you. So, thank you, Mr. Hammond. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving on to the business of the day. Number 1, opportunity to address the commission by employees or others.
Yes.
The new director will know my name is Leon Liat, and I'm from Lake Arthur, Louisiana, retired deputy commander of the state police. And I put you to work.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here today. I'd like to file a formal complaint. This complaint only further enforces or makes Mr. Grafton's retirement letter to his resignation letter to the government more certain. This letter is to the commission. I've also made one for Colonel Edmondson, and I would like for this commission to send it to him in the interdepartmental transfer. I'd like to read it into the record. Leon Buckymeat, 114 Magnolia Avenue, Lake Arthur, Louisiana. State Police Commission Chairman Trooper Thomas T.J. Dawes, Post Office Box 655. We'll skip that. Dear Chairman Trooper Dawes, please accept this letter as a formal request for investigation into the activity described below. I allege that Darrell Williams, Detail Major, Internal Affairs, a classified member of the Louisiana State Police, was transferred to Major of Technical Support Services in violation of Lspc Rule 8.2 and 8.10, which states, when proposed to fill a vacancy by original appointment, the appointing authority shall request the director, that's the director of this commission, to certify the names of persons eligible for appointment, furnishing such information about the vacancy as may be necessary for the director to decide those persons eligible for appointment. That's 8.2. 8.10 states, the appointing authority may, with the approval of the director, reassign any probation or permanent employee from one position in a class to another position in a different class for which the employee is qualified and which has the same hiring rate of pay. Attached is a copy of the email from Rhonda Fogelman on behalf of Deputy Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Public Safety Corrections, Office of State Police, which was disseminated on February the 23rd, 2017, to all DPS Commission personnel related to personnel transferred by authority of Colonel Mike Edmondson. I respectfully request that based on the above allegations, this commission conduct a complete thorough investigation of this matter and identify the parties responsible for the alleged violation of Rule Lspc Rule 8.2 and 810A and impose the necessary penalties in accordance with Louisiana State Police Commission rules and Louisiana law. And I have a copy attached of the announcement. This is not my job. This is your job. Y'all the ones that swore to uphold the law and the state constitution. You need to know that these type of things are in violation of the rules of this commission. I shouldn't have to be here. It's a crying shame. I think that there's several members of this commission have their own agenda, and their agenda doesn't include looking at this.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us what agenda each one of us have?
Well, let me ask you a question this. Maybe I missed something, but I did miss a couple of special meetings, but I was here, I think there were only 4 of you involved in the hiring of Mr. Hammond. And I sat here in this chair and I watched y'all. It was my understanding by Chairman Doss that they were going to give a packet of these 67 or 70, I don't know the exact number, of people that had applied for this position. And y'all were going to each go through this packet. Then you were going to have a meeting to kind of narrow it down to the people that y'all wanted to, interview. Well, I came for that meeting when y'all looked at this, and there were 4 of you that had these packets. And out of 60 or 70 people, y'all picked the same 5 names. That's mathematically astronomical. Did I miss something? How did y'all pick the same 5 names if you hadn't had a public meeting to go over this? Now, Kathy Durbin.
Would you like us to answer that?
Yes, sir.
We developed a matrix, which you're more than welcome to have, and everybody took all 70, I think it was almost 70 names. Granted, a couple of people were unable to attend, but they received them as well. And you keep saying 4. Actually, when we did the interview and hiring process, there were 5. Okay. 5 out of 6 people were involved in that. We followed the matrix, which was the guidelines that were posted with what we were looking for, and narrowed it down that way. It wasn't 5 people, it was 7 people. So basically 10% fit the matrix that we all developed together. That's how.
Okay.
You asked an honest question, I'm
Right.
telling you how it is. It's all public record. You want the matrix, you want the resumes, you're more than welcome to them.
Okay. And also you asked about the agenda. Since our first complaint, when this all started, about the Troopers Association and their violations of law, we kept coming here with complaints showing you commissioners where you were not in compliance with the state constitution and the state police commission rules. And because of that, y'all asked for Ms. Durbin to give you a list of areas of non-compliance. It's my understanding she gave you that list. I believe in my heart of hearts that the reason she was terminated, or not terminated, forced to resign, was because she was trying to bring this commission in compliance with the state constitution and state law. Now, that's my heart, and I'm sorry if you disagree, but that's what happened. And I would like y'all, I'd like to enter this in the record, and I'd like to send a copy of this to Colonel Edmondson.
Mr. Mayor, we can't help what you feel and what you believe. However, there are good people on this commission who, some of whom supported Ms. Durbin. And I can tell you that it had nothing to do with what you believe.
Thank you, sir.
Any further comments?
TJ,
Yes, sir.
you didn't approve the minutes. February.
Oh, well, we'll go to that as soon as we adjourn. No, that's number 2 on the menu, consideration of the minutes. We're still on the public address.
You're on the wrong deal.
I think you're, on the front page, we're opportunity to address the commission by employees or others. Number 2 is consideration of minutes. Well, if there's no further comments, we'll move on to item 2 of the business, consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting dated February 9th, 2017, and the special meetings dated February 20th, 22nd, and 24th of 2017.
I got a question
Okay?
before we approve them. I noticed, I don't know who changed the way of doing the minutes, but I wish somebody would tell me because what's on the minutes about, on the February 24th, I know when Jared had a chance to read his minutes, he had to change, he got a chance to change some stuff, but in my case, I don't see nothing pertaining to anything that, just one paragraph on what I said, and I've never seen minutes being taken like this before. Is there a reason who instructed the young ladies to do minutes like this? If we change this, nobody, and I know brought it before the board, but how do we take minutes?
Now, you said February 24th?
Well, the ones that says about, let's see.
Because you weren't at the February 24th.
The ones, let's see, what's the minutes on the, February 20th? Is it, that approved February 20 minutes, right? What minutes are we approving? All February, all the minutes?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's 4 different
All right,
days
let
of
me get to the
minutes.
one where, let me find the one that you, let me find the one that I'm looking for. Just one paragraph where it questioned, all it said was me and talked about, Mr. Grafton. But that was one item. So I guess that was February the 20th. Address the commission, the vacancy of Mr. Grafton, resignation. I
Well,
mean,
my change was February 9th.
Okay, but I'm just saying, okay, February, I'm speaking of the 20th. When did we decide to redo the minutes? I mean, I don't understand
Well,
why.
these are new minutes, and they were done by Ms. Cephas. She worked on these, and I do appreciate your hard work. Thank you very much for undertaking this. Correct me if I'm wrong, and everybody can chime in here, but the minutes are not a transcript of the meeting. The reason the meetings are recorded is if you want your words, put out there forever, there is an audio recording of everything you said. The minutes are just a summary of the meeting.
But why are we changing? Since I've been here for 2 years, but now here's a guy that lives in Shreveport, Louisiana, want to know what went on in this meeting. He has no way of knowing because he can't read the minutes. But if that's what you're doing, I
You can
understand.
request
No, not request. These people shouldn't have to request. They should be there.
So you want to transcribe the entire meeting?
No, I want to do what we've been doing. Who decided to change?
I believe it changed about a year
No,
ago,
no.
because prior to that, it was the same way this is.
Okay, all right.
You know?
Okay, the same way, so all this, when you go back on this page over here, there's a lot more discussion about what went on in the, February the 9th. There's a lot more discussion. Look at the minutes here.
Well, if you look at the February
No,
9th meeting, there's a
look
lot
at-
more on the agenda.
Okay, all right, okay.
Would you like to add something?
No,
to the
no, you do it the way you want it. I just feel like, it seems like why don't we put it out there? We paying people to type up the minutes, and it's been being done like this since I've been on this board. Why all of a sudden we changing what we doing and not even telling nobody? I didn't know we was changing, but it seemed like to me, if I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I want to hear what went on with this board, those people got a right to read what went on in here. But you're gonna approve the minutes just by one paragraph saying, I said this about Mr. Grafton. So, I mean, that's fine.
No, but can I say something?
Okay, fine.
Because I think that there's a way to ask that the minutes be done differently, and that's why they're up for approval, for us to discuss them, and to say you'd like a little bit more detail in them, and that's perfectly valid. I'm not aware of any rule that says they have to be done in one specific way or the other. They're supposed to be a summary representation of what happened but if you'd like them to be more detailed, I don't see a reason why that can't happen. You just have to make that known. I don't think that there's a reason to say we're changing it specifically for one way or the other, but your statement known, and I think that's a valid point. I think there's a way of saying that we're changing something without telling you, because that's not how minutes are done.
I'd make a motion that we consider each of the minutes separately for approval rather than in glove up.
Second.
All right, so motion for the approval of the February 9th minutes. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approval of the February 9th minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. The February 9th minutes are approved. Okay, for the February the 20th minutes, do I have a motion for the approval of the February 20th minutes?
I'll move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approval of the February 20th minutes?
Do a roll call?
Do a roll call. Ms. Christie, would you mind?
Calvin Burns.
No.
Donald Groves.
Yes.
Thomas, T.J. Dawes.
Yes.
Monica Mazzella. Jared,
Yes.
Eula Simeon.
No, with the request that they be supplemented.
Say again, I didn't hear
I
that.
said no with the request that they be supplemented.
Well, then it should be.
No, I mean, if they were.
I'm fine supplementing them,
Oh,
but that wasn't the motion.
We could have.
That wasn't the original
We could have.
motion.
That wasn't the
I'm fine
original
supplementing them. I mean, if Mr. Braxton wants more detail, like Monica just said, let him, let's put more detail in it.
Y'all do it the way you want.
No, I think that,
Do it the way you want to do
Mr.
it.
Braxton, I think that's unfair because you're making.
Well, it's not unfair.
Wait, can I finish,
Okay,
please?
sure, okay.
You're making an accusation that these minutes aren't being done correctly, yet you're just making that accusation without any follow-up of, this is how I propose we fix it or supplement it. Let's have an actual discussion on how you would like these minutes to be supplemented so that it would meet with your approval, and then let's make a motion to approve it that way. That's how you get things done and fix
I
problems.
understand.
Now, you don't just point out the problem and just say, I'm done.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
But that doesn't fix anything, sir.
Absolutely. So fix what I want.
I don't know, I don't know what you want to fix.
Okay, just leave it like it is. I'm fine.
If Mr. Grafton says leave it like it is, motion carries, the ayes have it. The February 20th meeting minutes are approved. The ayes have it, motion carries. Motion to approve the February 22nd minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Wait. I'm sorry.
There's a spelling error.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine, I'm fine.
Okay.
Moving too fast for everybody.
My bad. I'll slow down. The ayes have it, motion carries. February 22nd minutes are approved. Final motion on minutes, the motion to approve the February 24th minutes. Unless you want to make a comment on the February.
Yeah, I do need to make a comment on February
Motion.
24th.
Okay.
If you look at paragraph 3 of the minutes, there's a typographical error. It simply refers to Ms. Cummings by her first name. We omitted her last name. Needs to be added in. Also, on the roll call vote, Jared Rickey's vote is omitted from the list, and that needs to be corrected as well.
Thank you for catching that.
Good eye. Ms. Cephas, did you catch that? Okay, so it's gonna be the third order under business, paragraph 3. With those corrections in mind, do we have a motion to approve?
Move.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor to approve the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Given that the corrections are made, the February 24th minutes are approved. Moving on to the next order of business, number 3, consideration of summary disposition of appeal of William Robert Woodward III, docket number 16-229.
Mr. Chairman, we just got this morning. It's about 4 or 5 pages. Can we take a quick recess so we can read it?
I have no problem. Do we have a second on the recess to read the?
I mean, I'm not saying a long one. I just need 5 minutes to read it. And
I'll second.
All in favor for a 10-minute recess? All right. Motion carries, 10-minute recess to review the document. Again, this is to discuss the consideration of summary disposition of appeal of William R. Woodward III, docket number 16-229. Do I have any discussion on this subject?
I'll make a motion. I would make a motion to adopt the decision that's been prepared as written. I would like to make a comment though when I make my motion, because part of the issue on what will be adopted if we do vote to adopt this decision is the lack of timeliness of some of the complaints. My only comment is I wish that these had been done on a timely basis so we'd have the opportunity to consider them on the merits.
I'll second.
All right, we
decision that you're approving, what is the decision?
The decision will be made public, but in essence, the decision will be to dismiss the appeal based on the lack of timeliness of many of the complaints and the others that they don't constitute violations of the law.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the...
What is the motion? Is the motion to adopt and sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the motion is to adopt as recommended and sign the disposition of William Robert Woodward. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Me.
All right. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We are to adopt as recommended. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, oral argument by counsel related to briefs filed by both parties pursuant to interlocutory order in the appeal of Ronald Piku, docket number 16-222. We are going to table this until next month based on the request of both parties.
Right, and coupled with that request, if I can, is that the state police will deliver sometime either today or tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, just come on up.
Right. Sometime either today or tomorrow, state police will deliver to me copies of the investigative files from 2013 and 2016 as well. We can have that in advance, and if there's any evidence we need to present, we will also get that to you in advance as well.
And that's correct. We have documents ready for Ms. Kraft. And so I think our hearing on April 13th might be a little long. Just be prepared for that unless we're going to work on some stipulations ahead of time. Once Ms. Kraft has the documents and everything, we'll present those to you guys.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had already agreed to make the April meeting begin at 8 o'clock.
That's
So
right.
that will give you all extra time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I guess that will take care of number 4 and 5, seeing as how it's being tabled till, 4, 5, and 6 will all be tabled until the April meeting. So that's number 4, oral argument by counsel related to the briefs filed by both parties pursuant to order in the appeal of Ronald Piku, docket number 16-22. Number 5, executive session to discuss litigation in the appeal of Ronald Piku, docket number 16-222. Number 6, consideration and ruling on the motions argued by counsel in the appeal of Ronald Piku, docket number 16-222 will all be tabled until the April meeting. Number 7 on the order of business is continued discussion of testing. I'm going to start this off and I'm going to defer to the vice chair. I've been trying to arrange to have the individual who runs the contract for testing to come here and just kind of educate the board for the last several months, and have just been unable to coordinate time with her. She's very busy. She's a professor at Shreveport at LSUS. We've had, basically, just because of this being a younger board, I wanted everyone to understand the theories and practices behind our testing processes without getting into the weeds of it. The only involvement I have in the testing process is just simply ensuring that our contracts are maintained. Ms. Manzella has kind of adopted some of the helping me with this testing process, so maybe she can fill us in more.
In my discussions with Dr. Wise, it's been mostly trying to coordinate her attendance at our meetings to discuss the letter from December that discussed changing the subject matter of the testing. And I think And everyone correct me if my representation is
Ms.
incorrect.
Manzelli, could you speak up a little bit?
Yeah.
We're having trouble hearing you.
Everyone correct me if my representation of the matter is incorrect, but I think several of us had questions just as far as institutional knowledge of the testing procedure, because we are new to the board, or the commission rather, and we just wanted to know how the whole process worked. We have not yet been able to have that discussion, and I think there's some questions that we all have with regard to how testing is conducted, how the subject matter of the tests are agreed upon, how they're devised, and that sort of thing. Being that we all want the testing procedure to be the best that it can, I think and I propose that we form a testing task force of 3 commission members to look into testing, to see what's being done here, ask the questions, report back to the commission during our meetings, so we can have an open discussion about it, do an analysis, do a study on what's being done elsewhere, and are we in line with what's being done elsewhere? Are we better? Just for confirmation and edification of the board as to the institutional knowledge that goes behind the testing. And perhaps that's my own opinion based on what I've been exposed to thus far. And if anyone disagrees with me, of course, we can discuss that. That's my thoughts on the matter in my discussions with Dr. Weiss so far.
Any further discussion on testing?
I like the idea.
Do we have any, how would you like to be volunteers for?
Yeah, I think that would be the best.
I think we would need a motion to approve the process first.
Okay, well.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a volunteer testing task force of 3 commission members to just do further study into how testing is conducted, what makes up the test, and how it's done elsewhere.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of forming testing task force?
We need to open up for discussion
Yeah.
before we vote on it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and discuss it.
I would pose a task force of 3 commissioners. I think our commission is small enough that we don't need task force, we don't need subcommittees. The commission, in my opinion, is too small for that. But that would be my discussion.
That wasn't in the motion.
It was a motion to form a voluntary task force and
Well,
oppose the
okay,
motion.
I thought it was just a motion to form, and I didn't know anything to do with 3 people. Okay. I retract my motion.
How would you prefer we do it in open meeting, just all of us be on the task force, well, not even call it a task force, just we all discuss it in open forum? I'm open to that, that's fine with me.
Second.
We need to do something to get her here to talk to us, because, you know, I've got some real questions
My
with some of her
understanding-
suggestions, you know, and I appreciate, you know, I'm not a state trooper, I don't understand maybe what she was trying to get across, but when she starts talking about taking certain policy and procedure out of the testing, and then we're sitting here dealing with troopers with appeals because of policy and procedure violations, I don't see why we're taking that out of the test. Now, you know, I've had others explain it to me, well, I'm misunderstanding what she's saying. I want her here to explain that to us.
Oh, and I definitely agree with you, Chairman. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that.
I mean, we're sitting here and we're dealing with policy and procedure issues, and they're talking about taking policy and procedure or lessening the amount of it in the test. That's an issue.
That's
Yeah.
the question that I had, and that's why I wanted to ask questions and try to figure out, get to the bottom of how testing is done and why it's being done this way. I understand based on my conversations with Dr. Wise that she has no intention of coming to our meeting until after July. Right, exactly. When we believe that testing is complete, or the first testing is complete. So as far as how to conduct kind of a question and answer study as to testing, I'm open to suggestions from the board on how to accomplish that in the interim.
Are there going to be any changes between now and July when she would be available to come?
My understanding that there is no changes.
Okay. So maybe we could just have her come to the entire board, sit down and answer all, because I have questions too.
Yeah.
All of our questions at one time in a regular meeting. as long as there's
And
not going to
then
be
we
changes.
just leave the test alone until
Right, as
July.
long as there's not going to be any changes before she comes and answers
Would
questions.
there be any opposition, I guess, if I were to call Dr. Wise and try to get her to come to an earlier commission meeting and try to
I
get
would
this done
encourage it.
No,
sooner rather than later?
no, not at all.
Okay.
Any further discussion on testing? Okay, moving along.
You gotta vote.
Wait, on what? I thought you rescinded your motion.
No, but I went back. Okay, we're not gonna worry about it then. I
Well,
thought
I'm
you
trying to
did.
figure out because you said I rescind my
But I went
motion.
back and voted, we took away the,
Okay, what?
The motion for the voluntary task force was withdrawn,
yeah,
and so it's no longer on the table.
Okay, so what are we voting for now?
we don't need to vote
A
for
motion
it.
for me to contact Dr. Wise and ask her to come earlier?
I figured we were.
I'll make that motion.
I don't think you need to.
Yeah, no, I think there was just some confusion. Motion's been withdrawn. I don't think there's anything.
Okay, I'm gonna make the motion that Monica contact her and try and get her here as soon as possible.
I think you have a unanimous second on your motion.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Ms. Manzella, thank you for taking that upon yourself, so. Number 8 on the order of business, other commission business.
I got a question
Okay.
for you, TJ. Did you change the rules for board members being able to get documents given to them or not?
No.
Well, I couldn't get them, and I was refused the documents and told that they had to contact Nora or you before I could get them. So did y'all change that, or why was that said?
I can't answer that until I find out the entire situation. I haven't told anybody not to give you any documents.
Okay. Okay, all right. Just, that's what I need to know.
I got other business
Okay.
as it relates to the budget. So I'm sure everybody in the commission knows our budget's getting cut by 5%. That being the case, that leaves us roughly somewhere in the 20-something thousand, almost 30,000.
That I didn't know. Where did you find that at?
The stuff that Chaz had sent in, we were all copied on it.
I don't remember. You had something saying we get,
Yeah?
I don't have.
They cut everybody across the board.
But I hadn't got any response saying we got cut. I hadn't got anything, no email or anything, so I was just wondering how you got it.
It was emailed to me.
I wish
I
somebody.
believed it was sent to the entire board by the Office of Planning and Budget.
Yeah.
And
Okay, my.
They sent it to
It wasn't- it wasn't
didn't
sent
come from here.
No.
No, it came from them.
I was not reading all that.
So, it's my understanding that our attrition, because of not having an executive director for several months, is gonna be somewhere around roughly $10,000. So, what I think we need to do is take a portion of that, maybe 5,000 of it, and put it to this shortfall. The other amount hopefully can come from Taylor Townsend's contract, because it's not fully paid and funded for this fiscal year yet. And we'll just have to get together and figure out how we're going to handle the investigations and other things, short of furloughing our employees, which I think should be a very last ditch effort. I don't see any other way to make up this difference. And I open it to everyone to make suggestions. But this is something that needs to be addressed, so.
Didn't we get an extra $85,000?
That's for the 2018 budget that we're proposing.
We're dealing with, yeah.
We're still
that's-
dealing with the 2016, 2017.
July.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, it's a different, the fiscal year is different.
And based on my understanding, the reason that this impacts us so greatly is we're towards the end of the year, pretty much. So a $27,000 cut after contracts have been honored and the expenses have been paid is a significant cut towards the end of the year, especially with a budget as small as that. Am I incorrect on that?
No, and in my conversations with the budget analysts, both of them, they're checking, but I think our budget is the smallest in the entire state government. So 5% for somebody that has millions of dollars is one thing. 5% for us, I mean, there's just literally nowhere to cut. Literally. But again, I open it up to my fellow commissioners' opinions on what to do.
Well, obviously, the $10,000 savings is what it is.
Their only concern is as it relates to potential unemployment. So they didn't want me to use, or they don't want us to use all of it. Because then if you use all of it and there's a successful claim for unemployment, then you got to go backfill that. So that's why we decided on proposing half of it, so $5,000 from that.
Does the 5,000 cover any potential unemployment?
It covers some of it, yeah. And then the remaining amount would cover Taylor's contract.
Bless you. Bless you. From my understanding.
And for the record, I hate to make Taylor the sacrificial lamb, but I mean, I don't know where else to get it. And again, that's what I said, you know, please, you know, let's take a minute, let's look at it, but short of, you know, again, and I think the absolute last thing we ought to ever do is impact our employees. I see nowhere else. It's not like we had money in the budget for other stuff. We could.
I obviously don't have to vote, but you know how I feel about that. I'm fine with that. For what it's worth, I agree with your employees, that they should not take any cuts if at all possible. So, you know, we'll work through this like everybody else does. And I don't have to vote. That's you all's purview and authority to do what you so choose. But for the record, I'm fine with that. I don't want to see any employees cut. I don't think that would be appropriate. And we'll work with this.
Appreciate your understanding.
Good man.
They're not gonna hire you to do that.
Oh, we might.
I'm not
just
gonna
have
hire
to
you,
do
Taylor.
it. We might just have to do it for free, that's all.
The poor guy gonna catch the devil.
So, but anyway, if that's a motion, I'll second it.
I mean, yeah, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we take the first 5,000 of the budget shortfall from the attrition from the executive director position and fill the remaining with the portion from Taylor Townsend's contract that's not yet funded. And then that should get us through.
And there's a sufficient amount in that.
Yes, sir.
And that would cover the shortfall?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. That should solve the cut. So let's
Hope so.
So, any further business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion